Afastado do horizonte da mágica, o cowboy da música ganha o pão. Muito uísque pra vencer, aparência é pra valer, conteúdo presta não. Cavalgando naquela roupa exótica, o cowboy da música é de se ver. Aquela cara de durão dentro da televisão. Quanta besteira freira, mesmo sendo só ilusão. Mexe medo, sim senhor. Cowboy musical, vive nessa onda de ser brutal. Cavalga égua mansa como se fosse tão difícil de conseguir. Cowboy musical, vive nessa onda de ser brutal. Tudo de novo que traz em si é uma nova moda pra se seguir. Pra se seguir. Barricado atrás do fronte da lógica, o cowboy da música sabe mais. Muito fósforo pra ter, mente clara pra saber disparar com precisão. Cavalgando no deserto da prática, o cowboy da música é um bom ator. Aquela cara de durão, espelho da solidão. Quanta careta, mesmo sendo só ilusão. Mete medo, sim senhor. Cowboy musical, vive nessa onda de ser brutal. Cavalga égua mansa como se fosse tão difícil de conseguir. Cowboy musical, vive nessa onda de ser brutal. Tudo de novo que traz em si é uma nova moda pra se seguir. Pra se seguir. Cowboy musical, vive nessa onda de ser brutal. Cavalga égua mansa como se fosse tão difícil de conseguir. Cowboy musical, vive nessa onda de ser brutal. Tudo de novo que traz em si é uma nova moda pra se seguir. E ele só fica na conversa fiada, papo furado, segue contando caso, que é sempre caso contado na mira do seu portátil. Sempre tem a beat malditiva do musicídio do mês. Ao acordar em feito o Facebook até demais, ao meio-dia salta diligências musicais, treinando o resto do dia no espelho a cara de pau, e à noite igual no salão da bode total.
Ladies and gentlemen, many songs have been written, and this is one of them.
Hi, hello everyone. Welcome to this second webinar about how to kickstart your application for the No Waste Challenge. I'm Rosa from What Design Can Do, and I'm here together with
Thijs from Impact Hub. And we're also joined by Damini and Daphne behind the scenes watching the Zoom and Facebook, YouTube live streams, and Vincent working the tech. So if we ever refer to one of those, you know who we are speaking to. And they will be also monitoring your questions in the chat, which we will be discussing, of course, later on in this webinar.
Yeah, and first of all, we'll talk a little bit about the challenge and also what we're asking when you apply to the challenge. And we've also invited a previous winner of a What Design Can Do challenge to tell a bit more about his experience in winning a What Design Can Do challenge. So for those who don't know what Design Can Do, we are a platform for what design for design, and we believe that design can be a tool for change. And we organize events, we do publications, communications, and we organize design challenges. So the No Waste Challenge, we launched it in January, and it's a design competition about waste and consumerism. I think we all know that our planet is drowning in waste, and every year we dump around 2 billion tons of waste on the planet, which is destroying our planet. So it's very bad for biodiversity. Our plastic is in the ocean, and we are currently stuck in a take, make, waste economy where we take resources from nature, make bad products, tossable products, and we handle our waste very badly as well. So we want to move towards a just and circular economy, and we believe that designers can play a very important role in that. So we launched the No Waste Challenge to ask designers to step up and come up with new ideas. And I want to share this video with you.
I taught to design trash.
And I've designed trash.
I have been a bad designer.
But haven't we all been bad? Because at the end of the road, everything we design ends up as trash. Design turned out to be a very sufficient way to transform valuable resources into products that end up as waste.
We create tossable, discardable, very short-living products.
You're trapped in this take, make, waste model, and that needs to change. We need to work towards a society that's circular and fair.
I see design as having a responsibility in the waste cycle.
91% of all the plastic in the world is not recycled. And 30% of all our food is lost or wasted.
Waste is an idea. It's something that we invented. We can uninvent it.
So we need to design in a different way.
We need to redesign our relationship with things, with products, with service.
We need new ideas and we need them now. And that's where you come in.
Be bold, be curious, and be ambitious.
Join the No Waste Challenge.
Join the No Waste Challenge.
And get to work, because there's no time to waste.
All right, so the challenge is a global challenge. That means that everyone from all over the world can participate. And next to that, we also developed 6 city-specific tracks in Amsterdam, in Delhi, Nairobi, Tokyo, Mexico City, and Sao Paulo and Rio de Janeiro. And more about that later. And to help you get started, we developed 3 design briefs. So we say, how can we take less, make better, and handle smarter? In the first brief, we ask, how can we inspire the use of fewer natural resources and consume more mindfully? Such as this project Petit Pli, which makes children clothing that grows with the child. The second brief is make better. So how can we build products that are designed to last, for example? And this is the Fairphone, and it's a phone which is modular, and when an item breaks, you can replace it. The third brief is handle smarter. How can we use waste as a resource or dispose more responsibly? And one of the opportunities for design is how might we learn from and empower informal waste pickers and better support the jobs that they do, such as this project in Brazil, Pimp My Carioca. So the waste challenge, the No Waste Challenge has 2 main goals. The first one is the reduction of global warming. And the second one is to accelerate the transition to a fair and circular economy. And that's why we are looking for designers, creative entrepreneurs, and social innovators to come up with imaginative and inspiring concepts to reduce waste. This is the timeline of the challenge. Currently, we are in the open call phase. And next up is, of course, the selection of the winners, both globally as for the cities. And after that, we'll go into the acceleration phase. So what are we looking for? We thought maybe it would be a good idea to share our submission form to really give you an insight in what you are submitting when you make a profile and submit a project. So, of course, we ask for project title, project description, and you can upload high-resolution images to demonstrate your idea. You can also, if you want to, upload a video. That is up to you. And we ask you to select 1 or maybe more of the briefs that you're responding to. So take less, make better, or handle smarter. You can list if you're applying to the global track or if you are applying to one of the cities. And we will also ask you, if you choose one of the cities, why you chose it. Next up are the R's, the R strategies. So we're asking you if your project is about refusing, redesigning, rethinking, and this whole list. And we will also ask what category of design best describes your project. So is it communication design, product design, spatial design, or service and systems design? This question is quite important. So what stage of development describes your project best? So are you in an idea stage? You just thought of a nice, cool, inspiring concept and you made some sketches? Or are you in a testing phase? For example, you already made a prototype, or are you in the evolve stage where you already been working on your project and you're looking to further develop? We'll ask you what types of waste you are addressing. And we also would like to know a bit more about your team and your team members. Are you working with engineers or researchers or designers? You can fill in here. Then next up are the criteria. So we will ask you to respond to these 4 criteria that the jury will look at. So how is your project impactful? What is the creativity and design in your project? How feasible is it? And how scalable is it? And there are some next criteria that the jury will look at as well. And then when you apply and you might win the challenge, what will you win? You can win 10,000 euros in funding for your project. you can win a development program together that we co-created together with Impact Hub, and of course publicity through all What Design Can Do platforms and partners. And we want to tell a bit more about this development program. So Thijs, please fill us in.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you so much for giving a bit of background about what Design Can Do and where the challenge is coming from, and who we are looking for in this call. And I think the development program is really also will show to you why we are looking for this type of solutions. But maybe a bit of background first about who we are actually. Impact Hub is the world's largest network of impact entrepreneurs. We are currently located in over 100 cities worldwide, and originating back in 2007 with the mission to boost impact entrepreneurship globally, and really sustain these people that are working on innovations for a better world. Because we believe if we can help these people grow, then together we are creating the societal change that is needed. We are a grassroots organization, so local initiatives that comes together in a global form. And our local network in Impact Hub Amsterdam has a few ecosystems that we really focus on. Aside from any social entrepreneur that is of course welcome, and tackling the SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals, we specifically focus here on our 4 key topics within circularity, inclusion, food, and fashion. And what this means is that we try to connect important partners and people working on these topics together with the entrepreneurs to really build a systems change on these topics. And a bit of a background where that comes from. So in Amsterdam specifically, since 2008, we have helped more than 1,000 entrepreneurs to start, grow, or scale their impact business, and have also worked with various corporates and organizations to achieve their innovation and impact goals, usually in working with these people. Very proud to say we have the first impact accelerator in the Netherlands with now over 10 years of experience. And as I said, we build key partnerships with organizations in our ecosystems to help realize this. So with that background out of the way, I can talk a little bit more about the development program, because the solutions we are looking for in this No Waste Challenge will of course win some seed funding to help back their project. But most importantly, we have aligned with What Design Can Do to really also host and give to you a development program to not only realize your solution, but actually build a self-sustaining business around it that can really grow and scale into the future and build further impact worldwide. So how does that look like? We have the start of the program in September 2021, and it will be running for a year with some more intense and some more open periods of the program. So starting off in September, we of course do a kickoff and a bootcamp week where we take a week to really get to know each other, get to know the group, the trainers, the program. Where are you with your current solution? What are your needs in this year that's to come? And really get a grip of how we will go into this program with you. Straight after that, we jump into the development program, which will be about sharpening your business model, working on your entrepreneurial skills, and building your impact network. This will run for 3 months from end of September until December. And good to know, the kickoff and the bootcamp we hope to do maybe physically if that's possible with the current measures. If not, we will do it digitally. And the rest of the program, of course, will be digital since we are working in a global challenge. So that will allow everyone to participate from across the world. So in these 3 months, you will be working together with an experienced trainer, business coach, and also we'll have a personal mentor that will guide you through various modules and training and theory, where you and the trainer and the mentor and the group will be working on these elements of your business model. After these 3 months and you have a clear strategy and where to take it, of course, the next step is to start realizing it. So phase 2, 3 months from January until March, is really about prototyping and piloting, where we will be giving active support with finding these partners for you, building your network, and perhaps even attracting potential sales or funding. And we will do this through monthly check-ins with the program lead, as well as a one-on-one coaching session and an extra pitch training. And there's also the potential here that you might pitch at one of the What Design Can Do events. So really about building that network and getting you out there. And then after 6 months, we don't want to just drop you and let you handle it all by yourself. We do believe at this point it's really for you to go out there and make the change. But we do want to give follow-up and continued support through a membership at the Impact Hub, which gives you access to our masterclasses, pro bono support, and a further exposure in our channels or the ones of What Design Can Do and other partners. Yeah, so that's a bit about the package and about what you will be doing with us here at Impact Hub Amsterdam, where we are actually broadcasting from now as well. Yeah.
Thank you. So yeah, we are going to try to connect with Monish. He's the founder of Ant Studio, and 2 years ago he was one of the winners of the Clean Energy Challenge. He's based in Delhi. So let's see if we can get Monish on the screen.
Monish, are you here? If so, feel free to unmute and start talking so we can see you.
Am I audible?
We can see you, but not hear you
yet.
Yeah,
just a slight audio thing. I think Vincent is working on it, probably on our side. So just give us a minute here. Can you say something again?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah,
perfect.
We can hear
Excellent.
you.
Great.
Thank you, Monish, for joining us. And yeah, please, maybe you can start with your story, and then later on we have some time to ask you questions as well.
So thank you, What Design Can Do, once again for having me here. And so I really hope everybody who is hearing this, is safe and sound wherever you guys are, especially in this very tough time. So we were one of the winners in the 2018 chapter. So we were working on a startup called Coolant. So our main product is to design natural and sustainable cooling solutions. So should I share my screen and go through the this thing? Hello?
Hi, Manish.
Yeah.
Just to double check, will you be sharing your screen and slides if you have those prepared?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Yeah,
go ahead.
because we didn't give these instructions, so just double checking if you were aware of that. Perfect. Take it away.
Sure. So we are a startup called Ant Studio. We are based out of Delhi. So we are working in the domain of natural and sustainable air cooling solutions. And we are a team of really young and diverse people, like individuals from various backgrounds, artists, product managers, engineers, chemical, mechanical, electronic, and and also we have a lot of these freelancers who are really passionate about doing something working with us in the team. And so we are working, and what we are trying to solve is the cooling paradox. So if you look at today's date, the way air cooling solutions exist, in the process of cooling trying to cool the space, we end up actually causing a lot of harm to the environment and also heating the external spaces. So our whole objective is, through our products, if we can actually try to find a solution for this and and solve what is one of the biggest problems in the world right now, which is contributing to global warming. So the stats are really mind-boggling. I think most of you know about the impacts of the air conditioning industry. But one particular stat that actually really shakes me is that just in 2 days in the last 2019, the amount of carbon dioxide was emitted into the atmosphere is equivalent to the emissions in the entire year in 1902. So that's that's a scale on the right hand side that you can see, how much we are contributing to the environment. And just in India, because India is a huge nation with a lot of population, every year there is a rise in 15% of people who are actually adapting to this highly energy consuming systems. And so India is one of the nations actually came up with a cooling action plan, putting also emphasis on traditional systems and passive systems, trying to create a hybrid of this and try to see if we can actually contribute to reduced energy consumption built environment spaces. So that brings us to our product. So so what we're working on is called a Coolant, and the reason why we call it as the art of natural cooling is because not only our products, are functional, but we are also wanting them to be art installations in in spaces where they can actually speak more than just perform a function. So when we started with the whole the idea behind the product, we started looking at traditional systems that have existed for thousands of years and see if we can actually rewrap them in today's context, combining them with technology. So most of the spaces, if you look at old buildings, forts, havelis, and that exist, So they had this traditional way of cooling the spaces. So our objective is, what can happen if we try to adapt these systems and combine these passive techniques with modern science and technology and the analysis, CFD. I mean, we have the wealth of information right now, which was not existing like probably 100 years ago. So our objective is to see if we can actually bridge that gap and like reinvent and readapt traditional cooling systems. So this is the first product, and this was when actually we won the What Design Can Do challenge back in 2018. So today I'll be talking about like the journey since then and what we have managed to do so far, and how we actually got like benefited through this program. So like I think like most of the startups, when you start your journey, I think like we have a great idea and then we really don't know how to take the market or probably what to actually do with this idea. And because coming from a design background as an architect, I have no no knowledge of how to take a product to the market, how the market works and how do you really scale it, or even even creating a simple thing like probably not a simple thing, but thing like business model or a financial plan, and even pitching to the investors. So the product that we looking, so this is a very simple system that we have, which is earthen pots stacked one on top of another, like a beehive, and we pour water on top of this. And when air actually passes through this, it's naturally cooled. I won't get into the detail of the projects that I'll be showing later, but this is one of the first projects that we did that that's a starting point in the journey, inspired by the beehive. And so what we are trying to solve here is a heating problem in a factory by installing this the prototype in front of a DG set, where this machine throws tremendous amount of hot air into the environment. So I said, our objective was to actually solve that problem using traditional materials like terracotta and earthen pots, but combine it with modern tools like CFD analysis and optimization, and try to see performance, like predict the performance of this system and how we can innovate with that. So later, some of these products are actually we try to, after the that product, we try to take it to different areas, not just in factories, but see if we can actually combine it in maybe outdoor areas or building elevations and facades. And this is an office space in Oakland in this thing, and also like reinvent probably the geometry itself to see if we can come up with much more robust system that's also kinetic in nature, and try to reinvent with the material and see. And more, and every stage we are trying to develop the product to reduce the some of the issues that we came across as we were fulfilling the orders, and some of the iterations and so on. So in the process, another thing that we also realized that the same system that we are doing, we could also probably not only just cool the spaces, but also help and also try to increase the air quality in a built environment through the same system by combining with vertical gardens in the same system, and and also make this public art installation that could probably act as air purification devices. That's a target. By cultivating moss on top of this, these natural installations could also perform like that. That's a work in progress, and the images that I'm showing you are some prototypes. And this is again for the same thing, like a much taller installation that can help in reducing the the pollutants in the environment, with using bio mechanisms. So this is a journey. So we started the first prototype that we did was back in 2015. And in 2017, we won the UN Environment Grant. And in 2018, we won What Design Can Do. And ever since then, throughout the journey, what we learned, the whole process is that, how can you actually, what is very important is not just the idea. And how do you learn the basics of the business, and as an entrepreneur, how do you, there's a huge difference between an engineer and an entrepreneur. How do we actually, the many check boxes that we need to take. I think that's something that we benefited heavily by through this program, holistically. I wouldn't particularly pinpoint on one thing, but a lot of programs that have been tailored, which I think I'll be more than happy to answer your questions in the Q&A. And like this. And then last year, in 2020, what we were trying to do is also to come up with another product apart from passive cooling. Reinvent the passive cooling is also that. What if we reinvent the notion of cooling and through a smaller product called ether? And that's the idea. What if we cool a bubble around an individual instead of cooling the whole space, using the same kind of a system that we are talking about, earthen pots. So which means that we don't have to cool so that because the materials, the emissions are less, the energy consumption is really low, and and we can actually focus on microclimate. I mean, we don't really have to cool the entire room if we can actually just cool the space that we regularly use if we do that. And this is how it looks. And it's an earthen pot with water inside, and there's a fan, and it can also be a planter. The whole design, particularly in this case, was done in a manner that there is no waste to the life cycle of the product. That's one of the main ideas. So we actually took the geometry of an earthen pot and put a plant in it, so that after the life cycle, so the product can actually become a planter in the garden, then actually go into the landfill. So that was one of the main the ideas behind the design or the geometry of the product, and it is so compact, and then use the mechanisms like cooling of water that happens naturally in an earthen pot for cooling like air in this case. And like I said, the main important like part of the innovation is that it consumes really less energy, like requires less water for cooling, and with the help of sensors and other systems that we have, we can also control the humidity in the environment. And we get like better CFM, and again, like I said, there is provision for plants, so that not only is a product, but it can also become a planter in your room or your garden or on your terrace, in a cafeteria, wherever. So yeah, these are some of the features that we are planning for phase 2. Yeah, so that's how it looks. So I think, so as we are progressing, something that really importantly what we learned, the cohort, is also that, how to learn to pivot, not to just get stuck with it. And then pivoting is also part of the process. So I think if you notice a journey, we have not only from the original idea to what we are doing right now, we have pivoted multiple times to see what is the best thing that's for the market and for the customers, and then how we can actually reinvent the product so that it can best fit into the the market. So yeah, I think this is what probably I don't have to go into this, but what we're trying to identify the need and the customer base in the entire world, and what we're trying to do is to capture at least 1% of these the households who are conscious about the environment. Yeah, and these are some of the awards that we have won ever since we started off. And yeah, so the main idea, our inspiration for the product is actually to not to probably compete with air conditioners and actually say that probably it's an alternative. Rather, look at solutions that nobody else is looking, like reinventing passive techniques that have been there forever, and also thinking about products at a smaller scale, and see and using natural materials, and probably find a solution that is that comes out of this. And yeah, that's about it. And I'll be more than happy to take any questions that you.
Thank you very much, Monish. Very cool to see all that you've developed also after the What Design Can Do challenge. I can imagine maybe that some people are joining the session have questions. So if you have questions for Monish, please drop them in the chat. And I was wondering, because you of course, yeah, we're starting the program with the boot camp, and you also joined the boot camp here in Amsterdam. Can you say a bit about that? What your experience was like?
So, one of the things, like I said, I think most importantly for me, the biggest takeaway from the boot camp is that when I came to Amsterdam, I was pretty I can say naive in business terms or as an entrepreneur. I was more excited about the idea and only looking at the performance of the product, but I never really bothered about what will happen as when you take it to the market. So I think as an experience, what I learned there is that the different dimensions that exist for taking a product out into the there's a huge difference between a product and a project, because as an architect, I'm used to designing projects, even really probably thousands of square feet of area. And for us, I think I was also mentioning this earlier to what design can do for me. Perfecting that one particular product and actually taking it is way more tougher than building thousands of square feet of architecture projects and doing that. So I think my experience over there was from pitching, because I learned a lot about myself, how I speak, and what I really I can say that I learned a lot about myself coming over there, which I had no idea before earlier. So I think which is very important for any entrepreneur to realize somebody has to show a mirror and say, okay, this is what you are, but this is how you have to transform, so that probably you can become a better businessman, to do a better, to create better impact in the with a startup. Yeah.
Nice.
Yes.
Cool. Yeah,
Thank you.
I really enjoyed your story, Monish, and nice to meet you, by the way. I recognize a lot of it in the creative side, and then struggling with how to build that into a business. It's something we see often as well. So really happy to hear you've managed to overcome that through this challenge as well. Just want to highlight to anyone watching, we're going to jump into the Q&A right after this. So if you have any questions for us about the challenge or for Monish, feel free to put them in the Q&A box. You can put your mouse at the bottom of the screen and click on Q&A to answer or ask your questions there. We will answer them. And you can also ask them if you are watching on YouTube or Facebook, and we will make sure to get them in here in the Zoom and answer them for you as well. And Monish, I think you will be sticking around to answer some of these questions if they are for you as well, right?
Yes.
Perfect. And if I may, I have one final question for you, maybe just out of curiosity. What was for you the biggest challenge to overcome in an entrepreneurial sense? So for really the business side of your startup.
So I mean, in the right since the beginning, because our product is very like eco-friendly, and we are actually wanting to not only solve the problem of working with functionally, but also wanting you to as a be a social enterprise, and like also benefit the porters and the community in the process. And what we realize is that the biggest challenge is that like the industry, I mean the sector is so informal and unorganized that it's really difficult. I mean, for somebody to learn to first sustain themselves and actually become stable in their startup, and also then actually do the whole thing. So when I actually came for the cohort, I remember asking this question. So how do startups like really come out of this when they themselves struggling, and how do because you are not really in a position to help others. So how do you really manage these two things? Because first of all, you're trying to survive, and at the same time fulfill this thing. At the same, you want to really do good, which is not this thing. So I think one of the most amazing advice that I got is that first priority, I mean, this is to sustain and be alive in the whole process, so that you are in a position at a later stage to be of some help to the society. So yeah, I think that was probably the toughest thing that we still face. How do you because I think this is a kind of a challenge that all the probably the participants, I mean, will be also facing eventually. I think when they go out and they realize that, okay, now we have a great idea and then we have to do this, but then there are certain calls, and then we need to learn to really come out of the dilemma, or how do you this thing go about it. So yeah, I think that was, I can say, the biggest.
Nice. Yeah. Thanks for giving that insight. And I see a question coming in from Dagan from the What Design Can Do team as well. He's curious to know how you spent the prize money. Can you give a bit more insights on that?
So one of the things that we did on is the major thing was on team building, and because we were working on, so when we came back, so we're a very small team, and literally I think 3 or 4, and today we fluctuate somewhere between 10 to 12, like the whole team. So for us, I think when we got back, we realized that, okay, we have to really put our effort on not just doing everything together, but also to really identify and build the team. So majority of it went into that, and also taking a space and and so that we can actually work, and bringing in porters, and we created a small inventory, so we can also have a small research lab within, and so we got this the potter's wheel and the clay and all of that. So we had a small in-house the laboratory to do all the experiments. And yeah, I think these are the major things among other stuff that we spent the prize money.
Awesome. Thanks for the insights, and thanks for being with us and staying up late from your side of the world. Let's transition into the Q&A slowly, I would say.
Yeah.
So like I said, feel free to start asking any questions about the challenge, about the application, or any background you would like to know about one of the briefs. Yeah, feel free to take these next 25 minutes that we have to just ask away, and we will answer away. And I see we have a first question coming in already, actually. So the question is there this competition, What Design Can Do on Waste, also for social design?
Yeah,
feel free to answer.
Absolutely. I think, yeah, we would be very happy to receive social design projects. And I think also what Monish just told about, also developing your project and having a kind of fair practice is very, very important, and do something for community. Yeah, so definitely, yes.
Nice. Yeah, and right now we're still waiting for a couple of questions to come in, unless our story was completely clear. Also looking a little bit at the team here to see if we get questions coming in from the other streams.
You can also ask your questions on Facebook, on YouTube. We're checking that as well.
Yeah. All right, a couple of questions coming in. Let's pick them up one by one.
Yeah.
What is the difference between the global track and the city tracks?
Yeah, so it's a global design competition. So what I said before, everyone can participate. But we are also focusing on 6 cities, and that means that we did research in these cities. We work together with a couple of partners in these cities, have the open call there, and also really framed a couple of design opportunities locally. So if you are located in one of these countries and cities, we would really strongly advise you to apply to the city challenge. And if you're not from one of these cities, you can also you can always apply for the global track.
Mm-hmm. Nice. And I think Imela is coming up with a follow-up on the question about social design, asking also if it is not a product but a service. So can you talk a little bit more about the product service differentiation for applications?
Yeah, definitely. Yes. So actually, service design is one of the categories of design that you can submit to. And yeah, of course, maybe if we're talking about ways, we think about product design, but we think you can do a lot with service design. And we would be very interesting to see projects that are also trying to change things on a system level. So in that sense, service and system design is, yeah, very important and yeah, an important category in the challenge.
Yeah, nice. Let's see. Can I submit an idea in another language than English? We had a couple coming in.
Yeah,
it's good to clear up about this, I think.
Yeah, so we offer the challenge in 3 languages. For Sao Paulo, it's in Portuguese. In Mexico, it's Spanish, and in Japan, it's Japanese. But we do ask all participants to submit an English project title and an English project description. And for now, these are the only languages that we cover.
Yeah, and maybe good to add as well, the program will be run also fully in English as well. So it's just the main language that we're sticking to be as all-encompassing as we can be. Yeah. We've got a question from Katinka asking, does the application consist of filling in the form you shared only, or is there anything else required?
Yeah, so what you do is if you go to our challenge platform, you'll create a profile and then you can submit a project. And what I just showed you in the slides, these are all the questions that you need to answer. That's all the information that you need to give us. And in case that you are nominated, we are going to ask you for a bit more information about your project, maybe a business plan or other information that you can give us.
Yeah, and 2 things I would like to maybe say about that as well. First off, it's good to note, like you said, Rosa, you have to make an account, a profile first, and then submit a project which is a different step. So make sure that when you create an account, you also continue to submitting actually your project. And then secondly, some of the things in the application form are mandatory and some are not. I can definitely, for example, recommend to see if you can upload a small pitch video of yourself, which is not a recommended element, but these things can really help enhance your application. So yeah, try to be as complete as possible when you do the form.
Yeah.
The next question from Alex. Do you need to have all the expertise in your team to make your idea happen? In other words, if you have an idea for a digital product services, but don't have the digital skills to make it happen.
Yeah, in that case, I would suggest that you submit your concept and your idea and you go look for someone with the expertise for your team. You don't necessarily need to have someone right now, but it is, of course, important if you would be developing your project that you need someone like that. And it's also good to state that. So also for us to understand what help you need and what your next steps would be.
Yeah, definitely. I think the main takeaway from that is just be as transparent as you can be, and take us on your journey. So I would say you would maybe be in an idea kind of stage. So when you select that phase, also reflect it in your answers that's the case. It both helps us judge your application better, but also in case of selection, really helps us build the program for you in a better way as well. We've got a question from Sarah asking that she's based in Amsterdam, working on food
Rotterdam.
waste, and to apply to if she should apply to the Amsterdam chapter or the global one.
Yeah. So again, I think we would advise you to apply for the Amsterdam chapter. But if you think you would like to, maybe your project is not that local focused and you feel like you can apply it anywhere in the world, then maybe go for the global track. So I think if you see something in the Amsterdam design brief that really connects to your project, then I would advise you to apply for the Amsterdam track. And if it's more applying to the global design briefs, then go for global.
Yeah. And I think it's also maybe another deciding factor could be where are you currently active? Are you, for example, selling or building your product in the Amsterdam vicinity? Then maybe it makes more sense to apply for that one as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, a couple of things you can base it on. If you have any questions about that, still not sure, also feel free to just reach out to us. We will share our contact info in the chat, looking at our team in the back there. So if you want to discuss a little bit further, you're still unsure, just reach out to us. We're happy to help. So
absolutely, yeah. So the next question is, hi, I would like to ask for more information on the intellectual property and design rights. Could you open up more about these topics? So the intellectual property and the rights stay completely with you and your project. So we don't get any ownership over those. And it's quite important to state that, I think. And another thing that maybe is also important to mention is that when you apply with your project, we have the submission platform and we publish all submissions, but there's also the option to not publish your submission and keep it private. Then it will only be visible for the jury members.
Yep. Very good.
Anything you want to add about that?
Yeah, maybe I was just thinking about the 10K in funding as well, the grant, right? Good to maybe state that's an upfront grant. So again, it will not ask you to take a part of equity in your organization as well. So yeah, like you already stated, full ownership stays with you. A question from Federica asking if there will be just one selected winner.
Yeah, we will soon make an official announcement about that. But what I can already say is that we will select at least 5 global winners and 1 winner in every city.
Yeah. So in total, that will be at least 11 people participating. So that's good to know. Question from Tessa in the Zoom chat. Will the program from Impact Hub be different in the global challenge versus the city challenges? No, so everyone will be in the same pool. The only thing that might be different is what will we focus on building with you inside of the program. So if you are really focusing, for example, to fix something in a city, we will look maybe to see if we can align partners in that city to start working with you on that. Whereas maybe if you're working on a global challenge, see if we can find a better suited partner in that sense. So content's pretty much the same for everyone, but these little differences in terms of how do we connect you, where do we connect you, how do we shape the program for you, might differ based on what are you trying to achieve with your business. Question from Katinka: in which stage do you expect the project to be after 6 months of acceleration program? Good question.
Yeah.
There's no one clear-cut answer, of course. There's a certain area that we strive for, but it will also depend on how you personally develop, what opportunities are out there, how much time and effort you can put in. But in general, what we aim to achieve is to, in the first 3 months, really build your strategy, build your business model, and as Manish also described, hand you those entrepreneurial skills that you need to be able to understand how to bring it into the market. And then take this 3 months after to really also build it more on a product development side, finding the right partners for you there. Of course, especially something like a pilot and a prototype might take more time than 3 months. You need to build these relations. You need to find out what will be a suitable moment to do it. Yeah, based on these sort of elements, and the idea is that at least with these 6 months of training, coaching, and networking, you will have a clear trajectory, a roadmap built of where you take this in the coming months or years. Yeah.
Yeah, and can you maybe say a bit more about the time investment? So when you are participating in the program, what's What is expected of you?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so like I mentioned in the structure of the program, we first do a boot camp, which is a whole week that we need your time in late September, and then we have the 3 months of development program, which will ask you for around, I would say, 2 to 3 days of of your time to really invest in it. And that's purely for working on the content, being there at the sessions, working with the trainer, with the group. Anytime you can spend outside of that to also get involved, do your homework, work together with people in the network, that will only enhance basically your time spent as well. So definitely can recommend at least 2 to 3 days, but anything more is always great. And then the prototyping piloting phase is a little bit more about handing you the right connections to start building it on your own. So like I stated, this will be monthly check-ins where we will be finding suitable partners for you and building these relationships. And then the 6 months after, you should have all the tools with our support to really start working on executing it.
Yeah. Another question, is there an opportunity to apply to other competitions with my content in case this one does not win? Yes, of course, and maybe it also relates to the intellectual property question. It's your project, so it's up to you what you do with it, and we don't have limitations for that at all.
Yeah, and I would say one deciding factor would be how relevant is your concept to that challenge at hand, right? So right now we are focusing on the waste issues and the various briefs that are specified. And yeah, if the next one is also matching what you're doing, then I would say yes, of course. Get back in touch, see if you want to try again. Maybe things have developed enough that now it makes sense to give it another shot, for sure. We've got a question from Katrina. She's based in the UK. So does that mean I have to apply to the global challenge?
Yeah, I would say, go for the global challenge unless your project really relates to one of the cities.
Yeah. So say your legal entity is based in the UK, but your activities are really focused on one of the issues in these city briefs. Then of course it would make sense to work on the city brief. But other than that, I think it does make sense to apply for the global challenge indeed. Yeah.
Yeah. And the next question I see also about that. So from Eriko on Facebook, I'm based in Brazil. Should I apply in Brazil? I would say yes, go for it, because that's probably also where your project is focused on and probably embedded in the Brazilian context. So yes, go for Brazil.
Nice. Vincent, could you just open up the chat for us for a moment to see if there's anything we need to watch there? Most of these we have discussed about where to apply for global or city briefs. Okay, and just asking the team once more if you could share our contact info in the chat. I believe you can reach out to challenge@whatdesigncando.com. And also, if you want to learn more about the program, feel free to reach out to me. And this one you're not going to understand, so especially this one we need in the chat. It's thijs.hoogstrijd@impacthub.net. So I'm sure my colleagues will be happy to put that one in there. Another question. Let's see. What is the best way to submit the application for the idea stage? A pitch deck or another means?
Yes, it can be a pitch deck, but it can also be, visual materials, of course, really nice to have. So if you have visualizations of it, that would be great to see. And also, it would also be great if you can make a video about it where you tell about your project. So for us to understand what you're working on, what your ideas are.
Yeah. Really take us on your journey, right? There's availability to bring in some material. And other than that, the application form is basically in a way a pitch deck as well, right? Just a little bit more elaborate, asking you for a couple of more details on some specific criteria. Like Dagan is already mentioning, pro tip, jury loves a pitch video. So yes, these kind of elements will be great to add. And also the 4 criteria Rosa mentioned as well. So creativity and design, impact, feasibility, and scalability. there's a bit more room there to elaborate. And these are important elements for us to take into consideration, for the jury to take into consideration. Because in the end, we are also looking, what can we build out of this in this program? So important for us to know these things.
Yeah. The next question is, do we already need to be set up as a company? How small can a group be? So you can be very small. Actually, a winning team consists of 2 people. And you don't need to be a company yet, but if you go on to the next stage and you'll be nominated, and if you even get that far that you win, we will have a talk about it, how we can help you with that. And also, I think it would be wise to be set up as an official company. So that's maybe also for a later stage. For now, you can just apply with your project, and you don't need to prove that you're a company.
Yeah, for sure. And it's also something we will then work on with you in the program as well, if need be. And like I said, that need will definitely be there, because it's good to just start working on that element as well. I think there's 2 sort of groups of people that will be applying, right? We've got the entrepreneurs that have already registered straight away as a company and are building the solutions from there, building their team from there. And then we have sort of the creative designers that are still working more on the product development side, and might not have a company entity set up yet. And for both of these, your applications are more than welcome, and we will tailor the program to your needs as well. So
yeah.
We've got another portrait. The gun is going wild.
The gun is on fire. Yeah.
Demonstrate you have consulted experts to ensure your innovation is feasible. Definitely, yeah, a good point to take with you in the feasible segment of the application form. Dagan, we should invite you over for our 3rd and 4th webinar about how to stand out in your application with all these great tips.
I think so.
Let's see. We'll be closing the Q&A in a bit, indeed. So, and I feel like we've also discussed a lot already. So if there's no more questions coming in for now, maybe we can just wrap it up early a little bit and start the closing. Do have a question coming in? That's great, because we still have time. So,
is it also possible to apply alone? Yes, you can apply alone. That's fine. Yeah. And maybe we'll later on talk about what help you need, and maybe what team members you would need to attract to further develop your idea. But for now, it's totally fine to apply alone.
Yeah, and I think that basically answers the second question as well.
Yeah.
Can I be an individual with potential collaborators? Yes. And do also mention to us who you are potentially collaborating with, who you have on your vision to work with, and what stage are these relationships already at in being built. Like I said, full transparency, the more the better. The more you want to share, the more we can help judge the value of this and the program and how you would fit. So I think that's almost a wrap then. Let's maybe head off to our closing.
Yeah. So next, well, of course, the deadline is the 20th of April. So we really hope to receive your project before the 20th of April. And we have 2 more webinars coming up, and those are about how to stand out. So we'll help you with, how you can answer all the questions on the submission form, maybe also about storytelling, the visuals. What else?
Yeah, many of these things we've been discussing, right? What should you write about when you're talking about the feasibility of your project? What does it mean when you're describing scalability? How do I phrase my impact? What do I need to put in my pitch video, and how do I make the jury enthusiastic about that? Join this webinar. It will be a bit more of a relaxed, open session, us giving tips, more questions coming in, and us giving feedback on that. So
yeah. All right.
And I think also maybe just to add before we really close it off, if you have still any questions about the challenge in general, applying, what does it mean, the terms, etc., reach out to us. The emails are in the chat box. challenge@whatdesign-can-do. Myself is in there as well.
Or reach out through social media.
Exactly. Go to the website. However you can find us, we're happy to help and answer any questions you might have.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for joining today. And we'll answer your questions in the mailbox, and maybe see you in the next webinar.
Yeah, thanks for coming by, and enjoy your days.